Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the No Closer Show. I am always your excited host, Scott Carson. Excited to be here today. It is a hump day here in Austin, Texas for most people, for those that are watching us live across the different Facebook channels and videos. And those that are listening to us, it's probably the weekend. You're probably celebrating St. Patrick's Day when you're listening to this. And that's great. Today's episode is something that I think a lot of people focus on or have trouble with over time, and it's the focus, and it's keeping committed to what you're looking for, and keeping committed to staying on that path to that long-term goal. I think a lot of people struggle with. I've talked to quite a few people in the last couple of days as we work through different assets, or we talk with people about our upcoming Note Camp convention or our Note Mastermind group, and just talking with our friends, our extended Note family, peeps out there, and just seeing what's going on and seeing who's struggling with things. I know, Tarika, I'm totally excited for our upcoming Note Camp convention as well. For those that don't know, it's April 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's a basically 3.5 days over 30 plus speakers over 4 days of content. We're really stoked about it. It's going to be a great event. We've got some really big keynote speakers. Rhonda Britten, an Emmy Award winner, going to be joining us there, along with Sharon Lechter, the author of Think and Grow Rich and Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold, along Think and Grow Rich for Women, along with the co-author Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then of course Outwitting the Devil, which is a rewrite of Napoleon Hill's book that he wrote in '38 but never published it until just a couple of years ago. And in talking with everybody, I feel that everybody struggles with focus. God knows that I do as well. And I'm coming from a point of, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Inner release, I guess you could say, about sharing what's going on with everybody. I think as we see the market changing, we see prices increasing, people have to get a little bit more creative in their sourcing of assets, their sourcing of performers or non-performers. And I think what happens a lot of time, people come into something and they don't have a solid business plan, a solid foundation in place. Because I talked to several people like, oh, I'm going away from the no business. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Well, I'm going into this, or I'm going to that. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot harder. Why are you reinventing the wheel? Why are you trying to do that? Why haven't you done this? Well, and I get a lot of wells. And I always like to make the joke that a well is a ground in the hole that you pull water out of. But a lot of people's wells are dry because they're not digging. They're not sticking to it. And I agree, focus is sometimes a difficulty. Sometimes we love that squirrel that likes to pop his head up and go, looking for a nut. We've got two that, kind of live outside our house that stuff loves to crack up at on a daily basis. But the thing I want to talk with you guys about today is, what's your focus? What's your long-term goal? And I've got a long-term goal, and this is a dream we're looking at something over the next 5 years, moving somewhere in the Caribbean, somewhere tropical, somewhere where I wake up every morning and I'm on the water. I've seen this image burn in my head, coming to you live from the Caribbean on a regular basis, whether it's through our workshops or through our podcast, live podcasts, or it's through our webinars. I have seen that image burned in my head, and it's become a dream of ours. It's become what we want to do. Now, I don't have kids, but I know kids are a big focus for everybody. And when you're dealing with stuff with your family, it can be difficult to make things happen. I won't say just Steph and I have been kind of struggling lately. Our little girl, our 17-year-old golden lab that I've had since she was a puppy, is on her last leg, and it's very difficult to be focused on stuff when you have somebody who's been something that's been a big part of your life for the last 17 years. And this dog, my God, I've had her since she was a puppy. She traveled the United States with me for 3 years, and when I was at my lowest point, in 2010, I still had my dog. I mean, it's the only thing that remains from my marriage. Good morning, Daniel. Good to see you, buddy. We're looking forward to have you speaking at No Camp as well. Look for a schedule from us later this week. But that's the thing, is when you see your animals, or you see somebody that you care about, or see something so much that's been a big part of your life start to generating. My dog at this point, she's got some tumors, and they're affecting her ability to walk and be active, and it's very heartbreaking to come home and see your animal. And Steph has been such a trooper, being at the house every day with her and making sure she gets up and trying to get her to eat and trying to keep her active a little bit as best we can. But it's at the point where the Grim Reaper is knocking on our door, and we've got to make a difficult decision in the next few days, and that obviously sits with you. It makes it hard to focus on things. It makes you hard to keep driving forward. And I know that's an animal's an animal. I get that some people are more passionate about but when it's your kids, it makes it's hard to focus on things that are important to you, whether it's your deals or building your empire or raising capital. It can be something that's difficult. So today's topic, today's focus is, what do you do to help you clear your heads? What are some of the things that you like to do? Okay. I am a big proponent, like last night. Hey, we just had to get out. We like to go to a movie and just kind of disappear into a story for 2 hours. Try to relax a little bit. I am also a proponent of just kind of sitting outside and listening to the wind chimes a little bit and just kind of chill. And we're getting a workout in. A workout didn't quite work yesterday. I had to kind of stop halfway through it because I wasn't focused on it. And I think a lot of people struggle that within their real estate business. Okay. The biggest thing you have to keep in mind, I think, so when you're going through this, is what's your long-term goal. Yes, there will be hiccups along the way, and I know this will be a short hiccup. It'll be a hiccup that we just overcome and move on. And in 5 years, we'll sit back, or even a year, we'll sit back and enjoy the memories we've had and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to get at is that we all deal with focus and clarity issues and what we want to do, and it's hard to do that, especially if you don't have a long-term goal in mind. And some of us have different long-term goals. Some of us want to retire. Some of us want to put our kids through school. Some of us want to pay off debt. Some of us want to take care of our parents. Some of us want to travel abroad more. Some of us want to donate to a charity. There is no right or wrong. There's no wrong reason. Let me say that. Every reason you have to do is right. Okay? It's completely right. Whatever your long-term goal, there is nobody that can tell you that it's wrong. Okay? Now, what happens sometimes is that we do adjust our goals over time, and that's completely fair. I've had some of my mentors, very close mentor, a guy just recently, well-known, won't name his name, went through a divorce, third divorce, got a kid, one kid, young kid, and is struggling with his focus on what he wants to do, where he's built his image, and what he wants to ultimately transition to. And it's hard when you've built an image of who you are, especially when you have a public image, and you're trying to transition to something else. You keep getting pulled back into something, keep getting pulled back into that previous thing. If you're trying to leave it, it's hard to do sometimes when you haven't built the relationships on where you want to go and you're not exactly there. And him and I were talking about things, and I was like, listen, sometimes you just gotta cut the cord to that past, or cut the cord to the thing that you've been known for, and take a little hiatus, go a little off the grid to focus on helping you build your future, helping you build that next step, that next level, that transition, that metamorphosis to where you are. And I know many people out there that are getting into the real estate game or getting into the note game, they're struggling with that metamorphosis. Okay. They're struggling with that identity thing. I think we heard it last Wednesday when we talked with Anthony. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you guys there. Good morning, Melody. Good morning, Karen. Good to see you as well. I owe you an email, Karen. I'll get that over to you. And I get that it's difficult. Our good friend Bill Griesmeyer and him and his wife Heidi, not the country, she's the woman. Bill did a great video just recently. Bill's going through transition as well. He's working full time as a physical therapist. His wife works for the state. I think the EPA for the state, and they're going through that transition. And it's amazing to see his confidence level boost. He's starting to write now a little bit. He's getting some bids in, stuff like that. Seeing that confidence level evolve to where he's starting to take on a new role in his own life, from being where he's at with one image of what he does to his friends, his families, his colleagues, to taking more on the image where he wants to publicly be, to be an active real estate investor in a regular basis, and have that being the breadwinning or bring home the bacon asset of what they do for their income. And it's a beautiful thing to see. You see people grow confidence. You see people's confidence grow when they close their first deal, their second deal, they start making money. And that's a great thing. But what happens also, though, is sometimes other people see our confidence, they see what's going on, and they come in, they want to absorb it. They want to use that a little bit. And so they will pull from you your time. And I don't call them time vampires, but a lot of times, sometimes they do that. They don't have the confidence themselves, so they want to be surrounded with somebody who's doing that. And that's fine. You just have to, at some point, when you're going through 60, you kind of have to cut some of that stuff off. Now, you'll have time vampires that are negative too, that will be jealous a little bit. And sometimes, I'm a firm believer in this, when you start having success in one field, you start having other things thrown at you. You have other squirrels that like to pop up. And I'm a big believer those are distractions. And I think the devil likes to throw distractions at us on a regular basis. The most successful people are the most focused people out there. They focus of mind, focus of will, focus of character, focus of activities. Everything is congruent in that arrow going forward toward that long-term goal, toward those annual goals, those quarterly goals, toward whatever that lifetime winning lottery ticket, whatever it is. And I'm a big believer that I get things thrown at me all the time that I have to say no to. No. And it becomes easier to say no once you've done it a few times. But when you're initially getting some momentum going and rocking forward, those other obstacles that come to you, I think I can make this happen. And I think I can make this work. And our nature as entrepreneurs are, let's do this. It's not to say no, let's say how, and I think we have to balance that act accordingly to looking at what our actions are doing. Is what we're doing making money? And it's all the 80-20 parental rule. Where 80% of our income is coming from 20% of our actions. What are those actions? And if we can take that 20% and grow it to 80% of our time, your income would explode by 4 times, realistically speaking. Okay, that's pretty basic math. If 80% of your activity, 80% of your income is coming from 20% of your activities, get rid of the other 80%, focus on that 20%, and that way you should blow up by 400, 500% if you really are focused. Now, I get it if you're working full time and that job, that new hobby has turned into an income generating passion, but you still don't want to give up the ropes. You still don't want to let go of the golden ring, supposedly at the salary or the benefits or the 401k or whatever that is. At some point, you've got to let go to have more growth going forward. And I know that's always difficult. But the thing I struggle with, and I just share this with you, is we do have our marketing machine. We have our events that we do. We always have our deals, and we're going through some stuff with our deals right now. Okay, we're at transition points with a lot of our assets. Okay, let's get these things sold. If they're not, they haven't been performing, let's get them moved. And you'll see over the next few weeks what it's working through it. But it's also the point where we're like, man, we've been blowing and going since the first of the year, and it's hard. The year's flown by. You look at the year's basically 10 weeks in. We're just under 20% of the way done with the year. It's time for a little bit of a break. And the good thing is, I can tell you guys and gals that if you haven't set aside time to recharge your batteries, you will burn out. You will hit a wall. You will, no matter how hard you strive, you're going to hit mud. Okay? I only say this because I have done it year in, year out. It happens when you are running and gunning and doing some things. And so I want to hear from you guys. What are some of your long-term goals? And it can be things you're struggling with, you want to accomplish. What are those things, and what are some of the distractions that pop up in your life, and how are you guys overcoming those? Sometimes I've seen people that avoid the social media stuff, and that they take a 30-day, 60-day hiatus because they find themselves spending too much time on there. And I think that's a great thing. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I think it's actually kind of a smarter thing these days than a dumber thing, because it's refreshing. There's so much negativity coming to us that it kind of can feed into our mud, I guess you could say. But I know that I see people on there that are doing some amazing things. Good to see people out there. And then I also see people that are going through a transition thing. They're dealing with, I need to go one way or another, and I got to make a decision. And it could be, hey, I need to take a job to pay bills, or I need to focus on this one type of asset class because I found my niche, or I found a source. And it doesn't have to be either or, But a lot of times it does come down to, because you have to make a decision. Am I going to spend time on this? I'm going to spend time on this. But the biggest thing that I see people is people that want to go that entrepreneurial route, they start spending time there, they've gotten laid off or they've quit their job, is that freedom strangles them. That freedom to do what they want to do when they want to do it, they're not ready for that. Okay? They're used to having somebody stand over them for 40 hours a week or tell them exactly what they need to do, or give them projects every day and hold them accountable for what they do so they get a paycheck every day. When they no longer have a boss to report to, they often end up wasting time or doing things that just don't make sense. Anybody dealt with that? When I first was an entrepreneur, when I left, when I left the cell phone service I used to work for a year and a half out of college, and started as kind of a financial services guy, I had a lot more flexible schedule, and that flexible schedule didn't help. All right. Initially, it nearly killed me, because the fact is, I was waking up a little later. I was calling it early at the end of the day, and I wasn't getting things closed. I wasn't making any money, and I had to come to a real quick realization, like, oh my gosh, I'm not putting in 40 hours of effort here. I'm putting in like 20, expecting more than a full-time effort. I'm enjoying not having to wear a monkey suit every day. I'm enjoying not to have to drive in traffic and spend an hour, or 30 minutes in bumper to bumper Austin traffic every day. I'm going to take my time and stuff, and that's okay. We all have to do this, but at some point, you got to stop doing that crap and get busy going to work. And if you have a goal, long-term goal, a number, a retirement number, or something to hit that goal that will help you tremendously, have it posted somewhere, have it up where you can see it every day. And I just realized something too. I didn't post my goals on my walls. I don't have it on my office. I don't have it. I have the old one from last year, and I need to adjust that. So that's one thing I'm going to do today, is post my goals again. I always come up with goals. Yes, we have big goals. Obviously, help 10,000 note investors in the next 5 years. That's a big business goal. But I didn't put my personal goals up there, and I need to do that. If I talk about doing it, I need to be a man of action and talk and walk the walk, not just talk it. I know I wrote them down, but it's one of those things you put on the back burner. Oh, I'm going to print it out and laminate it. Oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. What happens tomorrow? It gets buried in a stack of tomorrows. Ooh, that's a pretty good quote. If you don't do something today, it's going to get buried in the stack of I'll do it tomorrow's. Oh, I got to write that. That's pretty good. Look at me coming up with quotes here. So I want to hear from you guys that are watching. What are you struggling with? What are that inner turmoil that you're dealing with, and how do you overcome it? What are some of the things that you've done to overcome it? Some of it could be just sitting outside, have a cup of coffee in the morning just to kind of relax and reboot. Some of it's going to the gym on a regular basis. Some of it's just unwinding in the dark. Some of it's just going to sleep. A good night of sleep always helps everybody out there. One of the biggest things that I like to do is I do not like limbo. I don't like sitting here in limbo. I like to take action and move forward with stuff. But when you're in limbo, it's frustrating, especially if you're waiting on somebody else to get around to something, or you're waiting on attorneys or stuff like that. Because I think if you've ever been in the note business, you realize it's a lot of hurry up, wait. Okay, hurry up, let's wait now. Hurry up and wait and go from there. But what are the things that you're dealing with? Those that are watching this morning, the Paris, the Karens, the Melodies, the Daniels, Marissa's, what are those things that you are struggling with? Colin out there, what are the things that you are struggling with on a daily or weekly basis right now? Do you know where you're going? Do you know what your ultimate goal is? I know Pari, you've sold some assets and you're still working full time, and then you're making the transition here, hopefully the next few years for you. You've got young ones. What are others struggling with out there? Obviously, if you have kids, it's always a big thing to make sure your kids are taken care of. How are they doing in school and summer camps and their long-term dreams and goals and things like that. I know that my parents were always big in helping make sure that we come in. Okay. Shannon. All right. Shannon Flynn that's awesome. Says we started her and awesome. We started a 2018 weekly, monthly, and quarterly call evaluation list. It's helping us keep on track and focusing us to be accountable for actions and moving forward. Awesome, Shannon. Now, are you guys doing that just between you and Corey? Or are you guys doing, I'm sorry, Corey. Why did I say Corey? Casey, sorry, you and Casey. doing that amongst the two of you, or do you have other people that are doing that with you? Okay. Well, Shannon's hopefully answered that. Tarika says, I feel like I'm drowning in the process of success. I know I'm making positive change, but so whelmed. Not overwhelmed, but so whelmed. I get that. That is a thing that can also drive you kind of bonkers because you start seeing success starting to happen. It may not happen as fast as you, but you also start seeing the transitions of things happen. Like, oh, I got so much stuff to do. And that's why it's important. I would tell you this, as you're growing as an entrepreneur, it's going to help you to have somebody that you can bounce that off of, an assistant, even if it's a VA or somebody there. If you can afford to make 10, 20 hours a week to help you kind of go back and help pick up the crumbs behind you, pick up the droppings. That's a weird, but pick up the stuff that you're kind of dropping the plates on. Because I know all of us are plate spinners, right? All of us are spinning multiple plates most of the time. And we often feel like we can't take our eyes off the plates because we're afraid they'll drop if you step away too long. I get it. I am the world's greatest plate spinner. Okay. Shannon says, Casey and I, that's a great thing, Shannon. I'm glad to hear that you guys do that. I would possibly open up to finding a couple accountability partners to help you guys hold a little bit more account. Maybe another couple, maybe somebody else on the WCN crew to go through those things. Okay. Inertia, Laura says, thank you for sharing, Laura. Inertia is always my challenge. I get comfortable and need a smack in the head to recognize that comfortable isn't working on my goals. Such a great quote. You're right. Inertia, once you get going rock and roll, it's like that flywheel of life. Once you get rock and roll, it gets going. But sometimes when we get comfortable and we get sedimentary, it's like laying in bed in the morning. When you hit that right, perfectly comfortable spot with a blanket on you, your loved one next to you, or you're sitting there all bundled in your pillow fort, it's hard to get up when you're peeking out of the covers and you see the sun getting lighter outside, or that clock, you're like, let me just snooze for 10 more minutes or 30 minutes. And then you're like, oh crap, I snoozed too long. That can help, and that can happen to you in as entrepreneurship. You get rock and roll and comfort level. You're like, I don't want anything to rock the boat. I don't want to move too much to affect this perfect comfort, this warm zone, like the womb of success is something to think about. Is that we all struggle with that, and I have to realize, okay, I got to get up, I got to get to the office, I got to get things done, I got to spend a little bit of time later, I got to work on this weekend. Sometimes we need a smack in the head. Sometimes we need a dose of reality, whether it's, hey, we've got a big goal that's coming close, we've got an event, or we've got bills due, or we've got JV deals ending. We all need a smack in the head to keep things driving and rocking forward. That's an important focus point that many of us don't have. And that's why I say it's good to have your goals pointed somewhere, or printed or posted somewhere so you can see it. So it can help you get out of that comfort zone, whether it's on your TV or on your fridge or on the bathroom sink or by your bed. Those are the things that can help you get rocking and rolling and making things happen. We are taking a couple trips here in the next 60 days to kind of stuff that we've been planning for a year or two, and looking forward to that kind of breakaway from the grind. Shooting the Squirrels for a couple of weeks while we get away to, recharge your batteries and revamp and celebrate a little bit. And sometimes that can be a very good thing. Sometimes posting an image of where you're going. I'll give you an example. This morning I walked in and literally, I don't know about you guys, but I have Windows. So Windows, obviously, when you click on your computer, it pulls up and it always has a really beautiful high def image of someplace exotic or someplace pretty cool. And this morning popped up a crater, a natural crater there off the coast of Hawaii that I've actually quite a few of us from the mastermind have actually snorkeled a couple years ago when we had our mastermind out at Waikiki Beach. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's gorgeous. I need to find a photo of that and post it somewhere because I'm looking forward to going back there at some point. And it just made me realize I felt my energy boost a little bit. And I was like, wow, this is the topic that we need to talk about on today's podcast. You know what I mean? Colin says something here. Colin says, time blocking and sticking to it. Do you time block and realizing my friend circle needs to change again? Yes, Colin, I do time block. I'll give you an example. In the morning here, when I get up in the morning, it's shower, shave, whatever you need to do, grab a little something to eat. I always try to say, okay, what's on my agenda for today? Who do I have on the podcast in the morning? And then what do I need to get done as well? What time is that? And working on marketing. So like I walked in this morning in the office and I got with Greg and Jen, said, okay, we have a pool of assets that we're going to market to on Thursday night. So Greg, if you'll work through these lists and start pulling up the addresses and throwing a PowerPoint so we can do it effectively for Thursday night, great. That's the first thing. I come in here, we film this. I've got my workout from 12 to 1, which is an important thing for me. And then this afternoon, I have phone calls that start kicking in between after 2 and 3. All right. And I've also got some JV updates. We got a couple wires we got to get out. So I do time block. I don't take phone calls. If someone wants to schedule a meeting with me, I don't make phone calls till after 2 o'clock. All right. Because that gives me plenty of time to get everything done. I don't usually check emails for the most part. Now, I will send emails out before noon, but I don't usually read my emails until right before I go work out. Just because if there's a fire, people know that they need to contact me on my cell phone. That's the best way to communicate with me. The thing you have to realize is, I'll work till 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and I was up here till 7 o'clock last night. I get a lot of stuff done. I got some marketing done in the evenings after 5 o'clock. So during the day, most of the part, yes, very much time blocking helps us get a lot of things done. It helps me focused, helps us to really kind of coordinate where we're going. And it's very, very helpful with things. As far as realizing my friend circle needs to change again, I'm sure you've probably heard me say that we're an average of the 5 people that we surround ourselves the most with. Greg Reed, my buddy, likes to say, in 5 years, we'll be the same person except for the friends we meet or the people we meet and the books that we read. And if you're needing to expand your circle of friends, usually one of the easy spots to do that, if you're a real estate investor, is to go to your local real estate club. Find out who's closing deals, see if you can't go to lunch. And I highly encourage this too if you're brand new. Find out what's going on and see if you can't meet somebody for drinks or meet them for a quick lunch. And go out of your way to go to near where they're at so that you're not affecting their schedule. And be on time or be early and get to the point. If you can have it, squeeze things in 30 minutes, do it in 30 minutes. If you can squeeze it in an hour, squeeze it in an hour. Find out what works best for them. All right. That's a very effective thing for you. And those that are successful appreciate that. We're getting ready to join the UT club here in Austin. We're pretty excited about that. Some of our friends are sponsors into that. I did not go to UT. I am just a UT fan. And I'm looking forward to that, helping us expand our audience a little bit, or not our audience, but our circle here a little bit more locally as we have different events and stuff like that. And then getting a way to enjoy football season that's upcoming and things like that. So sometimes it's just hanging out, networking. One of the things that I've been really impressed with and really enjoyed as we have expanded our audience is some of our podcast family. People, friends, and acquaintances that we have met over the last couple months as we started our podcast and went to Podfest and then at South by Southwest and then the upcoming podcast movement taking place in Philadelphia in June. We are really looking forward. We've made some really great relationships online, not only online at these events, but also local people here to help us with some things. So that's really been helpful. That has also been a really nice relief, I guess you could say, is allowed my brain to kind of step away a little bit from the notes mindset that we have to figuring out to spend a few people at some different people and get some pointers and allow me to kind of retool my marketing hat to come back and hopefully deliver better things to you guys here at Rock and Roll. It's help for our sponsors. I think it's help for our students. It's help us dramatically with the growth and where we want to go long term. So that's a big thing. And realizing too that we have this growing audience that is a beautiful thing. It's just that we have to share some things. I was talking with actually a potential coach yesterday. Somebody contacted me and talked to me about the podcast and saying, hey, I can help you identify who you are and identify your audience. And I was like, did you not listen to the first 5 to 10 minutes when you were asking me questions? I told you I was pretty comfortable with who I am. If you don't know, don't think that I'm pretty comfortable with my skin, everybody. And I know my audience pretty well too, I would say. And I'm like, if you don't know, if you didn't listen to the show, if you didn't listen to my answers, then you're really not coaching me. You're more spouting at me. you're more spewing at me, and that's okay. That's right. Maybe it works for some people that are brand new, but if I know my business, I know where I'm going, and know what I'm doing, you need to change your tone or change your pitch to me. Change what your focus is to identify with mine, to meld with mine, not me meld with you. If you want to work with somebody, you've got to adjust your focus to kind of fit with them instead of just being you and them. Yeah, you may get along great, but if there's not a mutual kind of bending a little bit to help out, it's not the best fit. Okay. What other things are you guys struggling? What things are you seeing and dealing with? I get the whole point of people like, oh, I can't raise any capital, or I can't make offers until I have capital. Well, look, if there's plenty of private capital around here. There's plenty of private capital, the IRA clubs and the talking, the marketing. You just got to do those things. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I'm not going to make any offers because I don't have money to fund this deal with. Look, if you start marketing now, start sharing the message, start sharing your journey, you won't have a problem raising capital. Trust me on this. You just got to start marketing what your focus is on, what you're working on. Hey, I'm looking at some deals. Hey, that's marketing. Share that. That will help you get your tribe to start seeing you take that transition and go from there. Shannon likes to say here, time blocking is definitely the key to getting things done, because God knows, especially if you're juggling another job or juggling something else, you've got to time block to get things done on the weekends or at nights or in your off hours, because that's where a lot of people go. You've probably heard Gary Vaynerchuk's talk about everybody has from 7 to 2. 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. If you're working a full-time job, a normal, regular full-time job, not a construction job late at night, but if you're working your normal 9 to 5, you've got from 7 to 2. And if you've got kids, you may have from 10 to 2. All right. The key, as Shannon said, and I agree, is making good use of that 10 to 2, that 4 hours each day. Because at the end of the day, that's still a 16 to 20 hour time slot that you can use effectively for your business, or it can get wasted away watching Netflix or Hulu or something else. And we all like to sit down and have a good series burn, good series, I got to scratch that itch. I'm going to watch another episode. Watch another episode. It happens, okay? It happens, and it's okay. Just make sure you get back on track to getting things working towards you ultimately want to go. What are the questions? What are the comments you guys have regarding the focus aspect of things? I know that focus can be difficult if you're sidetracked. The idea is to get off the sidetrack as fast as possible. I mentioned earlier about hating being in limbo. I hate being in limbo. I hate sitting around and trying to come up with a time for something. I want to put something on the calendar and get it rock and rolling and rolling with it. And that's the important thing. If you find yourself struggling with that, the best thing you can do is see, okay, what's holding you up? Can you eliminate it? Or can you just go ahead and make a decision? And can you change it later on? Because sometimes making a decision is better. You can always tweak it. All right, but going forward is better than just sitting there waiting. Because I absolutely hate sitting there waiting. It doesn't do any good. It irritates me. It makes me anxious. And then when other things are piling up on this one thing, it makes it even more difficult. You know what I mean, everybody? So I know we're all chasing scroll. I know we're all struggling with focus. It's a daily thing. And if you can embrace that aspect of it and realize you're not alone in the struggle, you're not alone in the difficulties that we all face on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis, I think that's a bit of a stress relief. Getting out and talking to people, networking with people, talking to people that are successful in your field. All right. Talking to peers and sharing what's going on. Karen agrees with me. Yes. Yes. We are all struggling with that. Who doesn't struggle with that? When you got a million things going on and you're a man down too, it's difficult. It makes it, when things fall more on you, you've got to kind of, okay, I got to put away some other time. You're working some extra hours to get some stuff done. So questions, comments, concerns from anybody out there? One of the biggest things I can tell you guys is look, don't hide when you're dealing with issues. Don't go into your hole. Don't stay inside of your cave. Get out and talk to people. Get out and communicate with people. Get out and talk to a coach. Get out and talk to somebody you admire. Because I guarantee everybody struggles with it. one of my early mentors was a big fan of Mark Victor Hansen, and I'm a big fan of Mark Victor Hansen. And there was a tape series that Mark put together and wrote and distributed back when you everybody got tapes, right? Books on tapes or things on that when we listened to. I used to have boxes of tapes of motivational stuff that I put in as I was driving around. Then I got a CD player in my car, and then I couldn't listen to tapes anymore. So I had to put it on CDs. And he met Mark Victor Hansen one time, and he shared with Mark how awesome that series was and how it helped him be uplifted into where he's at now and helped him get through a bad spot. And Mark Victor Hansen was smiling the entire time and said, you know what? I was going through a difficult period when I created it, when I wrote that book, when I wrote that series. I was dealing with a difficult thing, and I just shared it with the world, and it helped me get through a bad time, and also has helped others get through a bad time. So I just wanted to share with you guys today that, hey, it is normal. I deal with bad things. I deal with being a little loss of focus. I was sharing a little bit of my frustrations and stuff yesterday in a couple of things. And, I love where the business is at. I love what's going on. I think that the Note business is evolving. I'm a big believer that the more you have in marketing, the more you will succeed. It will overcome your dips. It just takes time for your marketing to work. It's not a bam, it's not like a snap your fingers and it happens overnight. It's a process that you have to stick with. If you look at where you're at today, make a mental note where you're at today. If you keep going in 30 days and you look back where you were in 30 days, you'll see that you've grown. If you look back in 6 months or 9 months, okay, you'll see a big difference. And Eric Hyde says, can I start over? I just got here. That's funny, Eric. No, we won't start over. But that's the beautiful thing about having this live streamed on Facebook or in the podcast is that you get the opportunity to go back and you can start all over again and again and again with this, Eric. But thank you for commenting. I appreciate that. So guys and gals, I want to encourage you, if you're struggling, reach out to somebody. A 10-minute, 15-minute phone call sometimes can do a ton of good in just talking with people, just sharing what you're struggling with. And sometimes we are our worst enemy. Our 7 inches between or 4 inches or 6 inches, depending on how big of a melon of a head you have, like only me, that this can be the biggest hurdle to your next step. This can be the biggest hurdle to having a major breakthrough in your business. If you are bitching and moaning and doing stuff publicly, you might be your biggest obstacle. You might be the biggest problem. It's not your job. It's not your family. It's not your past. It could just be you that you have stinking thinking. And we all get stinking thinking. It's just a matter of how long we hold on to it. Those that are successful, those that keep driving forward, the ones that are able to get rid of the stinking thinking faster and be able to overcome that and reach out to their mentors, their peers, their coaches, their trusted counsel to get counsel versus opinions. And so reach out and touch someone, reach out and give somebody a call, drop them a message, email, text message, schedule some time to talk with somebody if you're dealing with struggles, because that's the only way you're going to get overcome. Is always often having somebody come in to spend time with you, giving you a clear and precise plan of action and showing you, hey, you still can accomplish what you want to do. Because I don't care what your goal is. You may how far-fetched you think your goal and dream is, you can accomplish it. You can do whatever you need to do. You can get to where you need to get. All right. As long as you keep working forward to it and you are focused. If you're sidestepping and wasting time on things and you're uncoachable, you got to get coachable first. People do it. But if you got a big goal, set it, share it, work for it, use it as your focus. And I guarantee you'll have a lot more success versus just sitting around, twiddling your thumbs, sitting on your ass, not taking action. So if you're down in the dumps, whatever, get up, make a phone call, reach out to somebody, and we're glad to help. If you need some help with anybody, please let me know. Even something that we're not an expert at, we're always glad to help refer people out to our Rolodex of friends and families, members across our Note Nation family. So hopefully it's been helpful for you guys in this episode. As always, thank you. I have to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Quest IRA. I have to give a big shout out to Lawful & Associates and Aaron Young. Big shout out to those guys. Our preferred vendor, Madison Management. We're excited to have them also as a feature sponsor and other things else. So go out, make something happen. Take care of yourself. Go shoot that squirrel. Take a gun out there and kill the squirrel. And we'll see you all at the top, everybody. Bye.